You're listening to Her Executive Diary, the podcast where ambition meets real life. Every week, I am joined by honest women that are leading, that are building, that are also still figuring it out along the way. We pull back the curtain on ambition, and today I am joined by the lovely Musa Bwanali. Hey, Musa. Yeah, thank you.
Finally.
I need that. Yeah,
Finally,
it is so
yeah.
good to sit down with you
It's so
today.
good to be
What are you
back.
drinking?
I'm actually having some tea.
That kind of
Just the influence. I think you made a black tea. Well, here I am
Yorkshire.
going Yorkshire tea
Yorkshire
with
tea.
milk. No sugar.
No sugar. And I'm having the same as well.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's so good that we can relate on that.
Oh my word. Thank you. Thank you for having
This is how you know I've been watching your podcast. I'm not just in here just saying yes. I've been watching.
No, we love it.
So I think next time I'll make sure that I've got like a selection of teas here and then give
No,
people...
don't worry. So we'll be bringing something from her chapter, a selection of teas. But let me not talk too much about that. So yeah.
Oh, that would be so good.
I want to make sure you guys share the enjoyment.
And you know what? That's like a strong brand association because now every time we'll be making a tea, like, so what are you having? I'll be there in my kitchen like, I'm just having it.
No,
So yeah, really great for you to join us today.
Thank you.
So I know that our story hasn't necessarily started from this podcast. I first met you, I think you had just come to the UK. It was a while back.
The year was
6 years ago.
2018.
Oh, you remembered, yes.
Yeah.
It was when I was going through a season with Ruth to be, with Taddy as well, and connecting young professionals and so forth. And you came on and you also shared your journey. You had just come from the UK. And ever since then, I mean, like you said, it was like back then.
Yeah.
I have had the absolute privilege of also watching you flourish. So not only from just that, but then you came on board and you were the photographer for EB, our official. Anyone else who wants to claim that, I don't know about
There's
them.
no space for that.
No, there isn't. And then just like seeing you like evolve as well. I think for me as well, just like personally, it's been beautiful watching that because you were photographing and then now you are podcast host and making space for women and men as well to share their stories. So I'm going to give you a moment to just introduce yourself in your own words.
Oh, thank you. I've never actually done that, hey?
Yeah, because you're the one who's holding the question. So
It's nice to be on the other side. My name is Musa. It's Musa Winkwes. But a lot of people just know Musa. And I'm a creative. And in every sense of that word, I make things, whether it's through images, through video, through words, I create. And I've had the opportunity to do so in different ways. So yes, I work in marketing and comms. I've done some event planning as well. I've been a YouTube host for someone else's channel. And now I'm creating, and then I take photos. Been privileged to witness people's special days, their weddings. I also do funeral photography, which I don't talk enough about, but
I have never known that. I've never even seen one post about it.
Well, I can't exactly post about it, but yeah, I actually do funeral photography, and it's something that I value because it's someone's like grieving time, and to be able to document that in a way that is respectful actually takes a lot. But it's something I'm really proud to do. And then now I create also in a podcast. So I have conversations. And I also produce that podcast, which means editing and branding it. So yeah, it's a lot of little things. But all in all, I'm a creative. And it's only recently, and I mean last year, that I really have owned that. Because I think previously, I never studied anything creative.
But you've worked in marketing since you came here.
Yes. Not even since I came here. Guys, my journey from a long time. I studied politics. So my first degree was in peace and conflict studies with a minor in development at Solusi University. And the goal was always to do international relations, work for the UN, be a diplomat. Like that was my vision, right? And that's all I'd talk about then. But during that time at Solusi is when I actually discovered that I loved photography. And I just loved taking pictures. And I'd take pictures of my friends, of my classmates, at events. I would just take pictures. And again, it wasn't something I was intentional about pursuing.
You just did it because you liked it.
And then my first job out of uni, not even my first job, my internship here while I was at Solusi, I was meant to look for an attachment at ideally an NGO, you know, but it was hard. So I got an internship at Zimbo Jam.
Zimbo Jam?
Yeah, it was run by Fungai. So they did, they'd covered news and in the arts industry, anything to do with the arts. So we'd do interviews with artists, we'd go to shows, we would cover things like Haifa. It was really fun. But again, it wasn't something that I intentionally set out to do. It was an opportunity, and I didn't say no. And Fungai taught me everything that I've now applied in my entire career in those few months that I worked for him. Because he's the one who taught me social media for organizations. He's the one who actually taught me like photography, because I'd go out and take pictures and come back, he'd be like,
but there's a skill to it.
Actually, next time don't shoot in auto. I want you to learn manual. Go and read about ISO, go and read about this. And I'm like, okay, I've got homework.
Yeah.
and I'd go, come back. And that whole internship is what gave me the foundation for literally everything I've used in my career. But again, I didn't set out to be a creative. I was thinking, it's just a job, just something. Went back to uni, finished uni. And then after uni, my very first job after uni, I was working for my neighbor.
Your neighbor?
My neighbor, my fridge. You know those display fridges in butcheries?
Oh, right, yes.
Yes, those units.
The tall ones and the...
Yeah, the ones where you see your meat. Yes. And they did that and cold rooms. They'd build cold rooms. So I was their salesperson. Yeah. And I was like, okay, again, opportunity.
And I can't put the two together.
No.
But okay.
And I used to work, they had we'll call it a workspace, opposite where Colcom is. Across the road, there's like a copy, and they're old colonial buildings.
Okay.
And right at the top of one of them, they had just like flattened the space, put a shed, and they built a small office. Wow. That's where I used to work from. And I used to sit there in whatever weather, waiting for people who wanted to come and see these fridges.
The fridges.
And because it's a display unit thing, people aren't buying these every day. Yeah. So you'd have maybe one customer a month. But I'd show up to work every single day. But that time is what gave me time to think. And that's where I did all my applications for uni. I had time to, I'd bought myself a camera then. I would experiment. I'll just take
and then
pictures.
Applying the homework.
Again, like, I think my thread in life has always been never saying no to opportunity and learning different skills with every single space that I'm in. Had that job for a while. And then I got my first like proper job working at Edgar's in the marketing team.
Oh,
yeah.
So straight away you went into marketing.
Yes. But again, I didn't see myself as a creative.
You wanted to be a diplomat.
I wanted to be a diplomat. I was like, I'm going to go to school. And even when I had my interview with my boss, I told her, I was like, yeah,
I'm passing through.
I'm passing through. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm here, yes, but I actually want to do my master's. And she's like, oh, okay. Ruth, I was there for a year. After a year, I put in my notice. I was like, I'm going to school. I'm going to do my master's. And my leaving party, Rumbi, who was my manager, was like, Musa said this the day I interviewed her. She's like, I'm passing through.
But that's the beauty of internationality, isn't it?
Yeah. And you don't realize sometimes with life that, you know, when people make like plans, they think, oh, like, I always say, I don't do these like 1 year plan. For me, it's like a 5-year, 10-year plan.
Yeah.
And I might not know how I'm even going to get there.
But I know you're going to get there.
Yeah, you find your way through. So I think the creative path for me just continuously called me. Yeah. I was like, come back. So I left Edgar's. And I went to uni, came to the UK, did a master's in international studies and diplomacy.
So you were still very much
I
on
was
your
very
roots
much, I
Okay.
want to be a diplomat.
Never mind the marketing
No, I
experience
was
that
like,
tantalized
this is just a
you.
hobby. These are skills that I just have. But me, I want to be a diplomat. So I really had a really good year of school, and it exposed me to so many things. My highlight was we actually went to the UN in Geneva as part of our course, spent a week. And during that time, one of the course people had to give, we had a reception where we would invite all the ambassadors from our countries to come and like meet and talk to them and interact with them.
So this was part of your uni
Yeah,
course?
it was part of the course. So you had to sort of pitch to be like the one who gives the speech for
It was you.
that. And they picked me, little me from Zim. And I remember just going, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? But I wrote a speech, delivered it, made a few ambassadors cry. Yeah. Got a few job offers. Yeah.
Nice.
But you then learn the reality of being an immigrant, where these jobs you're offered, but they're not going to be paid. It's an unpaid internship. And you're thinking,
no expenses, nothing at all.
It's, yes, we can give you work experience. Oh, you could come work in our foreign office for like, a couple of months, but in Geneva. And
You're
I'm
not
not
having
a
to
trust
expense
fund baby.
everything. Yeah.
So as great as the opportunities were, I couldn't take them because my reality would never be able to allow me to do so. So I decided to go the practical route. So after uni, I was like, okay, I need to find a job. Actually, during uni, I found a part-time job. And those skills that I always had in my pockets, the love for photography, they actually opened doors for me because I got a job. And at first, I was like an alumni assistant for an event. But at the event, I realized, they need photos, they need a poster, they need this.
And you were applying your skills
and I was
to
just
make
doing
for yourself.
things. Yes. And the marketing department saw me. They're like, oh, would you like to come and work for us? And I was like, yeah, sure. And
this was when you were at uni?
Yes. And then when I finished my course, I had, when you're an international student, you finish in October, and usually our visas, back then we didn't have the 2-year post-study visa.
The visa.
So you had between October and January to either find a job or leave.
Or go back home.
And they were like, oh, we can just take you for this period if you want to be working, at least make some money. I was like, yeah, cool. And then they were like, at some point, would you be okay if we sponsored your visa and you stayed? I was like, you wanna, okay.
Yes. Not just from the experience and what you were doing.
Just from what I was doing, the work that I was doing, taking photos. When I say photography has opened doors that I would never have.
But that's where the Bible says your gifts will make room for you.
Yes. And when you're walking in your purpose and you accept what your purpose is, things just open up for you. It's not hard work. Yes, you're doing the work, but you're not trying too hard to make things happen.
But also, I just want to flip that. We're digressing, but I want to flip that, right? Because I totally understand it. But then as you're saying your story, you were very much still focused on diplomat. Yes, okay, the internships didn't work, but you're still at uni and you're still focused on potentially being in that field, right?
Yeah.
But then you were just, I suppose, intentional enough to apply everything that you had learned. Would you say that you understood your purpose then, or it was just something that because I know how to do it, I'm doing it?
It was just being realistic. It was saying I need a job. What job will keep me in this country? And what do I have to do to put literally food on the table? Yeah. That was it. I wasn't hung up on purpose. I wasn't looking for, what's my reason for being? Because I'll use a bit of psychology and sound like my mother. Yeah. There's what they call Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So when your need is survival, that's all you're thinking about. Yeah. It's not self-actualization. You're like, like I've got all these things covered. What do I want to be? What's my purpose? I was just like, I need money. I need a job and I want to stay in this country. How do I stay? And what's the most practical thing without selling organs or other things? So I stayed in that job, and I've been in that company with that company since then.
So you're still working there now?
Yeah, and now I'm head of marketing. From being a marketing assistant,
you've
to
worked your way
head
up.
of marketing. Yeah. And I remember going to the Zim embassy to renew my passport, and they'll ask you, Zimbabweans, we love a good conversation.
We do love a good conversation. That we do. That's Zimbabweans.
They were like, oh, so
Unoite, who are you?
I was like, oh, I do marketing. They're like, what? I'm like, so you were sponsored to do market? I was like, yeah. And the man was like, I've worked here a number of years. I've never heard that. And that's why for me, like sharing the story of how I got into the creative and how the creative has opened doors is important, because I think I'd never seen someone pursue a marketing career.
It's not even something you hear.
In the UK as an immigrant, and you're looking for visa sponsorships, and never.
Yeah, that's such an important topic, hey, because the last 3 years, we have seen an influx of people coming into the healthcare sector. And I say this because some people are my relatives.
Yeah.
People that were heads off.
Yes.
And people that were like very respected in their fields. And they felt like, okay, so to come for this better life, or this, grass is greener on the other side type of thing. And they've only just got into healthcare, but they don't realize that there is a whole list of skilled workers that are being sought out in the UK. And actually, if you have a skill in Zimbabwe and they can't recruit someone, they do that. So actually to hit, because you're also like the first person I've heard who say creative. I have a cousin who's also doing environment. I was just like, they look for environment people. And in Zim, like everybody is brought up to know about agriculture.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So actually like sharing that story. And I think you should do more of that to actually let other people know that it is possible, despite like all the barriers that can exist.
Yeah.
But actually exploring, and then you're the proof that it's not just like I'm coming and starting here, but actually there's room for progression. And I think that's a story that we don't
hear enough of. But I think that what backs everything you do, and some of the maybe decisions that people make, is just knowing your why.
I was about to come to that, because you've spoken extensively on that.
You need to know your why.
But then also, you said that you took the job because it was survival.
Yes.
So survival, why? So do they collide? Do they run in the same lanes, different lanes? What's your view on that?
Your why is what drives you and keeps you, and can help you through navigating difficult things. So I knew that
I ain't going back to that. It's not an option.
Going back to Zimbabwe for me
was not an option.
Was not an option.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I struggled to get out, right? I needed to get out. And I'm now in a space where there's opportunities. That was my primary why. Like, I don't want to go back. Not from I hate Zim. It's more from just realizing that, okay, like things in Zim
now you've been exposed.
Hard. Yeah. I'm in a place where there's opportunity. I can do more. And I think the most painful thing about Zim is for me seeing young people in their drive, young people in their energy being wasted. Because that's the worst feeling of not knowing what to do with all your ambition, all your ideas, all your potential.
It's not nurtured.
And everything is against you unless you have certain privileges. And not everyone has those privileges.
No, we don't have those.
Some of us don't have Hamadziri out there. We don't have connections.
Well, they say that opportunities are there, but they're not equally dispersed.
No. It's just me and God.
Yeah, at this point.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, that was my why. And then I learned that your why can also change.
Yeah.
Because I then went from my why of just finding a job that would keep me here, and I was willing to sacrifice. I had to let go of the diplomat dream, because I realized I couldn't pursue that in the way that I thought I'd be able to. And I was like, okay, what's the most practical thing that I need to do? Let me get a job. Let me stay in that job. I also got good advice. I think it's good to listen to people and take good advice.
Yeah.
One person advised me, they were like, I know the temptation, and people talk a lot about, oh, you move jobs, earn more, yada, yada. But sometimes being loyal to the company that you're working for works out better for you long term. So personally, at my workplace, they sponsored all my visas. Wow. And I'm saying they paid for them. Ruth,
it wasn't even, you didn't have to even struggle.
No, I never paid for any of my work visas.
That's incredible.
And that's because I was just like, let me be stable.
But
let me put
it's
in
just
the work.
from you going to an event as a coordinator.
Yeah.
And you saying, I will put my hand up to take photos.
Yeah.
And now you're head of marketing.
Doors.
That is so great.
Yeah. So it's been the creative journey has been a hard one in the sense that it's not something I set out to do. I never thought I'd be a creative. Yes, I had creative elements. I used to sing. I was very artsy.
Little. We need to hear a little.
Yes.
It's okay, but you never lose it. It's like riding a bike.
Let's spare the people. I used to sing. I was very artsy in school, but I never thought I'd pursue a creative path.
It's also because it's not nurtured in our community.
Oh no, you're told to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer.
Yeah.
Find serious jobs.
Yeah.
Yes. Find serious jobs.
And it's like how many young people even now, or even just people in general, have stifled like their creativity because it's not accepted.
Yeah.
And we talk about like Banksy and all these people, but like imagine if that person was also equally coming from Africa. Have we just nurtured that and actually just showing them like it's okay to be expressive in your art? I think I only know two artists from Zim, and that's it.
How many female photographers do you know who are not photojournalists? Because there's a difference. How many female photographers do you know who is Zimbabwe?
Yeah, no, I can't lie. I think the whole Zimbabwean media is just run by men.
Yeah.
I've never seen any women running anything, or people that maybe do marketing and that it's like a bolt-on service, but then they're getting men to
people
just
actually like fully running a photography business. Very few of us. But I don't. There's the home aspect of parents not encouraging or nurturing. But I totally understand it because it's also the environment that you're in. So when you grow up in an environment where Munu, who is an artist, is not getting paid, is not getting booked, they're living paycheck to paycheck, if even invoice to invoice.
Yeah.
For your parents, they want better for you. And for the longest time, it was always education is the way out, is the key. And my mom was very much like that. She was.
I don't think I know any parent who wasn't.
Read your books. She said, even to the photography thing. Oh, we fought. We fought hard. If people think that it's been an easy one. No. I've even had to fight my own mother to be a photographer.
Yeah.
And for her to now respect Kuti. This actually.
No, Mwanawangu is a yeah.
Now she will defend. She'll be like, Musa is a photographer. But it took years to get there. But I think, the environment is really challenging. And I've had people come to my inbox, young girls say, oh, Musa, I really want to do this. There's a girl who's like, my parents I really love drama and I'm really good at it, but my parents are discouraging me. They want me to go and do is it a law degree or something? And I was like, go do the law degree. Because you know what? They're right. As an adult, your parents are right. Yeah. Go do that degree. It doesn't hurt you to have something in your pocket. It doesn't hurt you to have skills in your pocket. And don't think of going to university as I'm just earning a degree. Think of it as I'm learning to think critically. I'm learning to write. I'm learning to put together a paper. I'm learning to research.
Team building, collaboration.
All those transferable skills that you're going to use anywhere you go.
Yeah.
So if you think of it as they're just forcing you to do this course, you're already in the wrong mindset. Just be like, what skills can I take?
Because of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. No. That is so important.
Yeah.
I also say this because I've equally had similar conversations. And sometimes it's hard to advise, especially like the young girls that are growing up now. I feel like we're of the same generation and of the same mindset. And like we're talking about earlier, like, firstborn daughters. we have a thing of like, okay, we can reason, we can understand.
Yeah.
But then the young girls that are coming up, it's like, no, she's forcing me to do this and I'm not with it.
Yeah.
But I think you've like pictured it beautifully, that it's not actually just the I'm going to get a degree, but it's actually understanding, okay, I may want to do this, I may want to do that. But actually, unfortunately, also our economy does reward those that have an educational background, right? But then it's just thinking like, okay, if I go down this route, I'm going to learn X, Y, Z, like you just said. And then and then you can like open up different avenues for yourself with that fallback plan. And I feel, a lot of young kids now, they're not thinking about backup plan. It's just all or nothing.
Yeah, it's also what they're exposed to, right?
Yeah.
How many, he dropped out of uni and then he went and made $1 million do we hear? So now it's, what's the point of going to uni? And I get it. And also like sometimes, because I take on interns, I'm like, what are they teaching you? Because
are they even
teaching you? Because what do you mean you don't know how to run a TikTok account? I'm having to teach you. You're 5-10 years younger than me. I'm having to teach you how to use TikTok.
What are you coming to intern? You must have at least a passion for it.
So I do get it, but I think it's a toolbox. You have a box, as you set out in life. It's empty. Whatever work experience you get, whatever opportunity, you're filling that toolbox up. And you never know, one day you might need that one skill.
That one skill.
But you would never have that skill if you didn't take the opportunity.
Yeah. And I was watching something, came up on my socials, and it was saying that we as humans, we are multi-layered, right? And somehow, somewhere, the world has forced us to choose one niche.
Yeah.
But then when we were like, doing our GCSEs, we're studying 11 subjects.
Yeah.
But then like as you get older, you're told to just like narrow down. But actually, I think it's just being still open, that expand as much as you can in your capacity and align with your passions, because you just never know which one of those skills will help you get to the life that you want. So which is really good. And I want to talk, so you mentioned that came from Zim to the UK. The journey hasn't been smooth sailing. What do you think that people romanticize about coming to the UK?
You want people to cancel me?
No, but it's true, because I hear people like, I need to come to the UK. Me, I'm like, I need to get out of the UK. Where's the exit door?
When you're in Zim and life is challenging, or you have I think a yearning for more. I think maybe that's that. When you have a yearning for more, you crave that exposure.
Yeah.
And exposure has always looked to us like what we have been exposed to. So we grew up with relatives that were in the UK that would come home and do these big things.
Grocery.
They would do groceries. They would build the mansions. When it came to a funeral, quite honestly, we wait until Sekuru Ningi has landed
Because
the
money.
because they hold the bag.
Yeah.
So I think there is a past version of someone who lives in the UK that we still are holding on to. However, things have changed.
Yeah.
The pound and the Zimbabwean, there's a US dollar and then there's a Zimbabwean US dollar. They are not the same. You cannot compete with someone who has money in Zimbabwe as someone who's doing hourly work, who has an hourly rate here. You can't. So I think people still romanticize living abroad, which I totally get.
Yeah.
We all crave exposure. And just living in a place where you don't have to worry about water. You don't have to worry about electricity. You don't have to worry. Bins are picked up. Like
you don't have to go.
You don't. Yeah.
You're not fetching water.
No, you're not. Electricity is not a thing that you're like, oh, you actually have a schedule to say, all right, we need to cook at this time because no. Or we have to have solar panels.
You can cook at 3 a.m. if you like. Yeah.
Internet access, you're not paying. Guys, I was in Zim. You're not paying by the nose just to use the internet,
just
right?
Basic.
You can be on the train and there's Wi-Fi on the train.
And you can still access the internet. Yeah.
So I get the wanting that life. And I don't think necessarily the problem is that people romanticize. I think the challenge is us, the people who are in the UK, we make life look easy. We don't talk enough about how hard it is. And by how hard it is, I'm not saying complaining about how hot, oh, it's so hot.
Yeah.
The body are
weather.
not made for hot weather. Oh, the trains are not moving. No, I'm saying tell your friends, tell your relatives the truth about how hard you're working, the sacrifices that come with that lifestyle, the things that you forgo just to be able to make it, or have a
Get
decent
through
life.
the month.
Yeah.
And yeah.
People are not talking about that.
How do we talk about that, Musa?
When you have your one-to-ones, okay, I'll give an example.
With your family?
I hope my friend does not watch this, but if he does, a friend of mine called me 2-3 years ago and says, Musa, because I'd gone through the route of, maybe I need to give a backstory. I started applying for uni in 2016.
Wow.
And I got a place in 2016. But I didn't have funds. I didn't have a scholarship. So I deferred my offer by a year and spent a whole year just applying for scholarships. And then eventually got one. And I got one like really late, right? And the time between me getting it and coming to the UK, a lot of things happened. So because I used to share that, one of my friends who I'd gone to primary school with reaches out and says, Musa, I got a partial scholarship to come to the UK and I'm thinking of taking it. And I was like, okay, so how are you going to, because I know international fees, how are you going to supplement the rest? If you're getting a partial scholarship, I'll be working the 20 hours per week. And I was like, okay, in terms of accommodation, where are you staying? No, my uncle has said he'll accommodate me. I'm like, how close are you to your uncle? How do you know his living situation? Yeah, he said I can come crash in his place. He lives alone. Chichi. I'm like, okay. Are you sure you want to do this? And I didn't want to sound discouraging, but I was like, are you sure?
Practically.
Like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I think I can do it. I was like, okay. I'm gonna say this with love, and I mean all the love in the world. Don't take a partial scholarship. If you can, try and apply for a full one, because you're going to forgo your grades by taking on a part-time job. Because I did that. I was working part-time even though I was on a scholarship, because I am a eldest daughter and I've got responsibilities and I needed money. But the cost was my grades. I didn't get great grades for my master's. And I knew where, because my time and attention was divided. Studies, yeah. So I told him, if you're going to do this, your grades are going to suffer, which will affect your opportunities after, right? If you take a full scholarship and you can then work with just supplement, and if you've got a place to stay, then that's great. But if I were you, just try. And he decided to come on the partial scholarship.
Ooh.
And he did tell me when he landed, so I landed. I'm like, oh, great. I'm staying with my uncle.
And you're also being an encouraging friend.
Yes, and I was, and sometimes he'd be like, can I have 20 pounds? And I'd send it to him because I know the struggle. And one day he calls me, he's like, Musa,
you were right.
You were the one person who told me the truth before I came to the UK.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened? He's like, yeah, I'm not staying with my uncle anymore. I actually moved in with a classmate who is living in a room. So we hot desk the sleeping situation. It's either he's working night shifts and I'm sleeping, or I'm sleeping or he's sleeping and I'm working a night shift. We're exchanging the bed like that. Because turns out uncle had his own lifestyle where he'd be like, don't come to my house before 8 p.m.
Before 8 p.m.?
Yes. Again, like, people are not honest about their situation.
Yeah.
So
I'm starting to understand what you meant.
Yeah. So when I say, as people who live in the UK, we need to be honest. If you can't take someone into your house, don't lie to them.
Be
and
honest
say,
about it.
Come, and you don't have the space, or your lifestyle does not allow for you to live with your family, or maybe your partner that no one else knows about back home is not all right with you taking in family. They don't understand this whole family thing. So people aren't really honest on that level of saying,
and then people make decisions off the back of that.
Of what they're told.
Yeah.
And then you get here and the reality is harsh.
I'm even just thinking, that in my experience, because I'm like, where have I been saying yes, 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 and painting a different reality? And yeah, it's true. I think it's almost like a default response because we come from a communal country and culture that like the first instinct is yes, of course. And then when now they are there, it's a different ball game. It's a different story completely.
Yeah. So just being honest about that, and also encouraging people. You talked about people who are coming in serious and they get into healthcare, and some people then feel stuck, and some people then feel like because that I've never done healthcare, but I have an appreciation of how hard that job is and how emotionally and mentally it can drain you.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, and people get caught up in money and they're like, if I put in more shifts, and they don't realize the burnout is not even just a physical one.
Yeah.
20 years down the lane, it's a mental breakdown because you're just like, who am I?
Yeah.
But it's because we also don't have conversations of, all right, what pinda? That's a foot in the door, right?
There's actually
now that you're there, it's okay to still dream about doing something else.
Yeah.
Like read about different options. You don't have to stay in that one thing that you came in for. And it's hard to start all over again, especially if you were a professional and you had an idea of who you are.
Yeah.
You had an identity. People knew you for this thing. For you to start over and say, all right, I wanted to be a diplomat, but how do I take more pictures?
Yeah.
What do I need to do to make more money from this
that's
thing?
it.
But it's because you've held on to an identity that you had and that people have also given you.
Yeah.
And you want to stay in that
bubble
space.
So actually recognizing that like seasons will change and you have to adopt with it. I also know I have a cousin of ours that we know, and when we went to Zim and we saw their lifestyle, heck, me and my husband were like, hey, we gotta go back and get our coins out. Do you know what I mean? Like they had the lifestyle, and then they came here and they went into care. And the same thing that you've just said, that there was like this identity and now you're having to rebuild essentially.
Yeah.
And there is that element of you lose yourself because they start to distance themselves.
Yes.
Like back home, that community that we're talking about, you will go down the road and have a chit chat. Here, you're going to book an appointment at least 6 months in advance.
Yeah. You have to schedule a visit.
And it's just like so hard. Even speaking on the phone, it's not as accessible as back there. And I think then they start to realize that, it's not as rosy because people are so distant. People are literally fighting every single day to stay sane.
Yes.
And have the money with the cost of living and also have a job and support the family back home and support their kids. It's just a whole lot.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think we need to have more conversations about that. And I also would like to challenge you, Musa. You said international relations, diplomacy, right? And now you're in a position where you've had the journey. Like you're not saying anything that's theoretical. You're saying something from a lived experience. How do we make sure that, we're talking about, yes, there's the home nurturing of the creative arts. What can you do? And it's not for an answer right now, but how do you also make sure that there is that generation that is being brought up, that is being nurtured creatively, that it has the information to also make some of the decisions that you've made boldly that may feel stifled?
I've thought about, people who knew that I wanted to be a diplomat yet have always asked Ruth, so have you completely given up that dream? And does that mean like if you're advising someone who is looking perhaps to study what you study, you tell them not to? I'm like, no. Sometimes you also have to learn that your dream will manifest differently.
Exactly.
So at my workplace, my nickname is the diplomat.
Oh, I love that.
Because I will hold mediation meetings. Conflict resolution is my thing.
Is your thing. Yeah.
Right. In my family, I am
You're
the
also that.
mediator, you know. So my dream has manifested, but not maybe
Takes a
in the
different shape.
public space that I thought it would. And I had to also be aware of that and say, oh, and lean into it, which is what partly inspired the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I realized my photography sessions actually, usually I'd have someone go, that felt like therapy.
Yeah.
Because we would spend maybe an hour taking photos and an hour and a half talking.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, someone's like,
Because sometimes we just need someone to speak to.
yeah.
And there's that saying that like it's always easier to talk to a stranger than a friend.
Yes.
And this is why when we go to our notex, our hair people,
Yes, we
are laying it all out like, and then.
So yeah, for me, it was just realizing, actually, I am a diplomat.
You are a diplomat.
Actually, in terms of practicing international relations, I do it. It's just in a different space.
I like
and now doing it even with more confidence.
Globally.
And leaning into it fully and accepting that that's who I am in the season. It might change. Guys, I might wake up tomorrow and the next day Prime Minister. You know?
In Jesus' mighty name, you shall give us the
from
tenders.
my mouth to God's ears.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just with every season that you're in, I'm just learning to fully embrace it.
Yeah.
And use everything that I have inside me and in my toolbox to actually move.
Oh, I like that. And as you're talking as well, I want to talk about community, right? When you got into the UK, you mentioned that, I think I read something, the ASGN.
Yes.
I got it right. The acronym. AGSN. AGSN.
I have a lot of stories done.
Yeah. But I would like for you to focus the lens on also, you know, I think you mentioned that it also collapsed in a way that because people were living out their different lives. And sometimes you can be a part of a community to start with, but that relationship evolves. What happens when that scaffolding starts to just vanish as well? And how do you kind of rebuild yourself in the sense that you had the safety of community and now you're
so
in that space?
3 days before I traveled to the UK, 3 or 4 days, I got that amazing message that says, your passport is ready for collection. And you just know that, you know what, my life is about to change.
My life has changed.
And literally booked my ticket. Before I even went to pick up my passport, I booked my ticket. I was like, guys, I'm going, right? And I was home. My brother was at work. So I was like, Mom, I'm going to pick up my passport. Got in a combi, got into town. And then my brother called me. He's like, what combi? And I was like, I'm in town. I'm just about to get the next combi to go and pick up my passport. He's like, actually, I'm in town. Let me pick you up. And I'll take you there. I was like, really? You're in better. So he picks me up. And as we're turning from 2nd Street Extension into the visa office, someone smashed into our car. And the car flipped over and we were both unconscious. Actually, there were 3 of us in the car who were all unconscious. Came round. The people from the visa office are the people that came and dragged us out of the car. So from that accident, I had a broken leg. And I didn't know I had a broken leg because when we went to the hospital, they scanned my knee, which was visibly swollen. And they were like, oh, your knee's it's not broken, it's just swollen. Just use heat and ice. And my mom was like, you know, village people.
They always know.
Village people. So she's like, can she travel? Because she's supposed to fly out in 2 days. And they were like, no, she's fine, she can travel. So I traveled limping, in pain, coming to a country where I knew no one.
Because you had to be in the UK as well.
Again, I had a timeline. I left Zim on the 1st of October and I arrived on the 2nd. My school registration for me as a new student was closing on the 4th.
So
I didn't even have the luxury of let me recover, and I had to travel.
You had to be there.
So I pulled myself together and dragged myself through, you know, the planes and got to my new accommodation.
Doing
everything. And I was in pain. My knee was like this big. And I'm also when you're in an accident, it
a while as
messes
well, too.
everything up. And I'm like, yo, like I almost died because it was a really bad accident. The car was a write-off. My brother was unconscious for like hours. So it was a really bad accident. And I hadn't even had time to process all of that because the focus is go, go, go. You need to leave the country. So I got to the UK, got to my accommodation. They were very nice. But you know, it's a student house. There's only so much they can do for you. I had to now figure out how to get to uni, everything. And
Did you have family in the UK?
no,
You were the first.
it was just me. Well, I have family, but you know,
It was just you.
it was just me. I'd done everything from applying, booking fees, everything I'd done myself.
I
So
hear
this is just me. And on then one of the days when I was going downstairs for breakfast, I felt like I pulled something, ended up in A&E, and they were like, "You've got a broken leg." So fortunately I'd carried my scans from Zim, and I was like, "I was in an accident, yes, a couple of days ago." They're like, "No, your knee is fine, but you actually broke your leg." So I spent my first 6 weeks in the UK with a cast and we're using crutches, knowing no one. I then
And then
reached out
still
to a
needing to
friend.
go around.
Still needing to go to school every single day. So that experience for me was such I think a heartbreaking one because I don't remember my first 3 months of school because I was just on medication and in pain. And I was lonely. And yes, I had a friend of mine, but you know, he was living far and he'd come try and, you know, visit once in a while. But I just felt like I didn't have time to grieve this accident that I've been through. I didn't have the excitement of, I'm in a new country, I'm a new student. I missed the whole welcome week. So I didn't even make friends that first term because I was never at school. And it was just really hard. But then I got better and I found myself. And then I realized there were other African students within the accommodation space. And you'd have someone go, I see you got your hair done. Where did you get your hair done? And I was like, I actually did it myself. They're like, oh, really? I was looking for this. And I realized all of us were looking for a bit of home and a bit of comfort. And we found it easier to talk to each other because we had that shared African experience. So I was like, oh, guys, let's try and like get together. So first get together was someone's birthday. So I just called people. I was like, hey guys, like there's someone's birthday. Let's buy a cake. Let's go to we went to Regent's Park. We were in the park.
Nice.
And it was very basic, but it was like, wow, community, right? And all of us were like, because we're all on 1-year masters. When you're on a 1-year master, you don't have time to make friends like that. And everyone's busy, right? Your schedule is actually busy. But we were like, oh, we're craving this. Yeah. So with time, people started bringing their friends from university.
Okay.
So the group grew bigger. And it became an actual thing. So I was like, okay, let's put structure to it. And then that's what birthed the African Graduate Students Network.
Oh, wow.
Because now it was a whole network of African students who were all doing their masters at different universities. Some were not just
the one that you
not
went to.
just
It
my
was actually like
university.
the whole UK.
Yeah, it was just different universities. And then we even had people in other cities write us and be like, hey guys, I saw this event. Yeah. So I was like, wow, okay, there's a thing here. And when I finished my studies, I was like, I don't want it to just be we were having fun. I want to pass it on. And because now I was working at a student house, I was like, okay, so for new students who are coming in, I haven't told the dean of students, if they're African, just let me know. The people who were leaving left their things and I packaged them into boxes. So all your cutlery. Ruth, who would have told me that buying a knife in the UK is an actual... No one talks about this. I have to learn.
Then you have to have your license and your ID.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, if I can make a cutlery set for someone, at least they have a blanket for when they start. They have a morning slippers for when they go and shower. They've got cutlery for their room. They've got a plate because most of these accommodation spaces aren't even next to like big stores. You don't know where to travel. Yeah. It's only with time when you learn about IKEA and all these other places. But if you've never done online shopping, if that was not, you don't know these things. So I was like, I want to help the next generation of students who are coming in not to feel as lonely as I did. So that's what birthed that. And I did that for 3 years, 2 or 3 years.
Alongside working at the student.
Yeah. So even at the student house, they because they're really kind, they even gave us a room, so I would be able to book rooms and have events. So at some point we had a talk. We would have potlucks. We would go out, even traveling. There's a group that we went to Paris. My first trip to Paris, I went with other African students who had never traveled to Europe. So for all of us, it was a new experience.
And a really good one.
We were all on a budget. So we took an overnight bus and we booked a hostel. It wasn't like, but we all understood that we actually wanted to travel, and we made it happen ourselves.
It's about memories at the end of the day.
So I wanted to pass that on to others, and I did that for 3 years, and then COVID hit. And again, with people coming in, 1-year masters, a lot of people would leave. So I was always hello, goodbye. I'd do airport runs. I'd go to the airport. Not that I drive. I would go to the airport to meet someone.
With the tube?
Yeah, and meet them and show them how to use the tube. Show them how to take a train from point A to point B. Because I was like, no, I had to learn all of that from scratch. So if I can help one other person, then I've done something with my life. So I did that. COVID hit, and we tried to take it online. But I was going through my own thing because I was put on furlough. At some point, my job was on the line, and I didn't have the emotional bandwidth to then be there for other people. So I had to let that go. Did I do it the right way? I don't know.
How did you do it?
Things, because at that point it was group chats. So most times people would wait for me to initiate things and say, oh guys, let's do this, let's have this. I just stopped initiating. And yes, people would check in like, oh, so you're right. I'm like, yeah, I've just got a lot on my plate. And I sort of disappeared as well. So the whole thing just fell apart. And some days I would feel like I let myself down, or I let the group down, because I'm not there for other people. But I learned that it's okay to start something. It's okay to build a community, but it's okay to learn to let it go when that season is done. Sometimes we want to stretch seasons. My student years were done. And then I was now
very much not.
No, I wasn't a student. And even though I work with students every single day, but now my reality was I'm now a person who's working. I'm a professional. And I needed to then move from the student space to the professional space. So it was, okay, now I need to find a new community. How do I do that? That's when I reached out. I was like, oh, hi, Ruth. I saw you doing this thing. I want a mentor. And I got a mentor. So it was me realizing I was also moving seasons. So yes, I built a really good community. I still have friends from that. Whenever people see me going to Kenya, I'm going to my friends that I met through that group. And we've been friends since then.
You've been friends since then?
Yes. But I also think it was okay to let it go because I was past that season. And interestingly, someone else then started something similar. And they actually have formalized it. It's a social impact thing. And someone was like, oh, so you could have done this. I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't for me to do that. I did my part. The people who were helped through their projects were helped through their project. And maybe that's what I was there to do, just to see people through this. And that's it. And that's okay.
There's so much to unpack in everything you said. And I don't want to unravel it. But you said something so powerful, Musa. I'm not even thinking that I'm forgetting what I need to say. That how sometimes we stretch our seasons.
Yeah. Sometimes we stay too long.
We have evolved, and yet we still want to be in this version of ourselves. And I see that like this weekend with my friends, I was saying that like you've got certain people that we grew up with that are like still the same person that they were 15 years ago. And it's because they're trying to hold on to this identity. And they're not accepting that, no, babe, you're now a mother, or
you're an auntie.
No longer at uni.
You're an uncle.
All of the, right? And then you then get like friendships even dispersing as a result of that. But especially when it comes to community, it's actually understanding that, okay, yeah, I've evolved. And so the people I keep around also need to evolve. And I don't think we do a good job We like to hold on to things like order.
Well, it's comfortable. It's comfortable, and also, Ruth, there's nothing as scary as when your friends say, saka wachinja.
Wachinja.
Saka hauchabatike. You don't think of us anymore because you're doing.
My heart even just went heavy.
It's hard to hear that. And sometimes you want to stay the person that some people know because it's also comfortable to be in that space. But growth and comfort do not coexist.
Yeah.
And if you want to grow, and you have to be able to step away and be able to move through. And I think also as an individual, having the skill to still hang around people maybe who knew one version of you, but have other communities and other friendships. I have always admired people who say, oh, I've been in this girl group for 20 years. Because I'm
like, 20? How the hell did you do that?
I have changed in the last 20 years. The person who you meet 20 years ago would not recognize me now. They'd be like, so you've changed. Because I have. And I admire that, sometimes
but it's not always full.
But it's okay to grow.
Yeah.
To make new friends as an adult.
Heavy on that
part. It's okay to make new friends as an adult.
And think we'll be like,
yay.
We'll be holding on. Because I'm saying this because it's a reality in my own life. And sometimes I find myself having to suppress certain parts of myself because I want to make these people feel comfortable because this is the version that they have known. And very recently, and I'm saying like recently, I've had to, through conversation, I've had to be like, you know what, like, I love this person, but actually it's okay that we don't speak. I don't have to, because I don't have anything to talk to them about. But if they said to me they're getting married, I will be the first person that's there. But actually, like, it's okay. And I shouldn't feel so bad about it. Because that's also the other thing. Because then it's like, in a friendship group, you could be 7, right? You now don't talk to the other 4 because you're now in different seasons. But maybe there's 1 or 2. And then it's guilt. You have that guilt of like, I'm speaking to these, but no. And then
it looks like I'm selecting.
It looks like I'm selecting. But yeah, I suppose the part about that is just, you then don't allow yourself to grow and to flourish because you keep suppressing.
Yeah. And you limit your own self and you're not your best version.
Your best version.
And now it's okay to, if someone's not willing to grow with you, because I think also as friends, challenge each other. I remember when I was, my best friend is going to be like, what's up?
Let it out. Let it out.
When I was at Sulusi, I had a really good friend. We're besties. And after uni, I'd be like, let's apply for my master's. Let's go. We can do this. And you're like, so I want to get married. I want to have kids. Like, I want to work. Like, yeah, I want to do my master's, but like later, you know? So I got out and I was like, yo, I'm not going to, I want to go. The husband and the children, I still want that, but maybe not right now.
Yeah.
Let me pursue this thing. She eventually left the country last year. And she called me, she's like, Musa, I should have left.
Did she then get married and have kids?
She had the child. But not the marriage.
Yeah.
But it was for me like, it's not like I left her behind intentionally. It's not like I didn't try to grow with her. But maybe the pace at which we were growing was different. But we're still now able to have conversations.
Have the conversation.
Because she's now in a different season where she needs different types of support. And maybe now I'm best positioned to give that.
To be that.
So even if you don't grow together, give each other grace to go through your life is at your own pace.
At your own pace.
And you have to give each other grace, especially as friends, because these are chosen relationships. Right?
Exactly.
They are not.
And sometimes people forget that.
These are chosen. We've chosen each other.
Yeah.
So let's give each other grace. If you're going through a season where you can't show up for parties, or maybe you're not that person anymore, you don't like drinking anymore, so you don't come to these events because you know that we drink. We should give you grace to say, hey, Ruth Chinozomona.
She's changed.
She's changed, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And make accommodations for changes in friendships and even in your communities. When my friends started getting married, having kids, these were the same ways to party hard, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't call them when I wanted to party because they've got different responsibilities. So instead, I go and hang out with their children. I am the best auntie ever. Right? Because I'm like,
But
I
that's
still want your
evolution.
friend. Yeah, I want the friendship, but I'm
Yeah.
adjusting to also where you are at in life.
And I love that because you know what? There's not a lot of people that are willing or do that readily because they are just thinking, oh, she's married, she's got kids. Like, that's it. Like, the season's over in a way. But I love that you are intentional to say, okay, your season's changing. Like, I'm going to meet you at this point because you're still going to be in my life, but I'm going to meet you where you are. And I'm not going to try and force you to be where I'm at. And I think that's so, so powerful in friendships. And as you say, rightly so, your community as well, giving each other grace around it. So I also want to then just, in everything that you've been talking about, right? Want to go back to the creative side a little bit. So you've been taking photos for EB and helping us tell a story with everything that you capture, those, you know, in between moments and just actually helping to tell a story. And I wonder now, as you've evolved and now you've started her chapter, and creating space for people to be seen, when did it stop almost? Not stop. When did it evolve? At what point did it evolve from, okay, I'm taking images and I'm telling stories to actually, I want to hear them? Because you've been witnessing in a way. So at what point did that shift and change?
I am a yapper.
And there's a yapper challenge going on right now.
I love to talk. My mother will tell you that Musa will talk from morning to evening. I love to talk. So even in me taking photographs, I would do portrait sessions. As I said, people would say, this felt like a therapy session.
Yeah.
And all of my clients would come back with, oh, like, yeah, I know you did photos, but actually I've got this life situation going on. So I realized I've always told stories and I've always made space for people's stories. And I've always been able to, photography for me is not, I'm not creating something new. I am reflecting what you haven't seen in yourself. I'm literally taking a mirror and saying, this is what you look like.
And so beautiful.
So for me, it's been about stories, people's stories. I've listened to people's stories off camera. I think I am a professional people watcher, not in the creepy sense.
She says.
But
she says.
in the sense that people pay for me to do so. So yeah, and I like to give a person that space to be themselves and to actually like show themselves, not the way they think they should be perceived or how they should but be themselves. So from taking photos at events like EB, where it's always fascinating for me to be in a room and I'm not just listening to the conversations, but I'm seeing how people, do you know there's a difference
they carry themselves
when people walk into an event and how they are at the end of it? And I can capture that. People are usually very camera shy at the beginning. They're self-conscious. They come to an EB event, and when we do those portraits at the end, they're like, so, and I'm like, it's
how do you
because
want me to stand?
you were listening to things that have actually empowered you, not in a go and make money sense, but you actually feel more confident about yourself, and it shows. And I get the chance to show you that. So when it then came to the podcast, I was like, I always loved the conversations that happen behind the camera. Let's do it in front of the camera. Let's sit and talk about life because there's a lot happening.
There is a lot that is
happening, but we don't talk enough about.
And you've just said it, you've summarized it, because as I've been hearing your story, I was going to say that the thread is you're creating space. As a creative, as a storyteller, you have been creating space for others to be seen. And maybe that's reflective of also your story. And now that I'm hearing it, it's so powerful. So host to host, Miss Her Chapter podcast host. How do you ask people the questions that you were still also learning to answer yourself?
You start by sharing your own experience. When you're vulnerable with someone, they understand that they are not being judged. Yeah. That is the biggest thing that Fadzi and I are very intentional about. We're not creating a space. We're not, when we invite you, we don't have an agenda.
You were saying.
We just want to have tea and we just want to talk. And so you're able to ask the questions because you're honest enough to say, I'm still figuring this out. I don't have an answer. Yeah. How are you doing it? And they're like, oh, actually, I'm also going through X, Y, and Z. And you talk about how you're feeling and navigating through that. And again, it's not to have an answer or to have a package of this is how you should do. No, it's just we talked about it. Yeah. It's out. And how people receive it, because also there's you sitting and talking. Yeah. And then there's you posting and how people engage with that. That's also we don't know how people will engage. There's some topics.
But they may find themselves. They may not.
Yeah. There's a topic that we were so scared to talk about, which is faith, because we both have unpopular opinions about faith, right? We're like, do we put this online? You know, what will people say? And then I was like, no, let's just do it. Yeah. I don't think I'm the only person who is questioning church. I don't think you're the only person who who doesn't want to go to church. Yeah. Our tribe will understand. Yeah. The people who know will know. And we put it out. And, you know, the messages that come in, you're like, oh my gosh, Nini, I've been questioning whether I'm going to church for the right reasons. I've been questioning my faith. I was like, wow. Yeah. So you ask the questions.
Let me not even ask any more on that because,
Yeah, you have to open up to saying, I'm also still asking. Be vulnerable enough to say, I'm also walking through this bit. I don't know the answers, but I'd love to talk to you about it.
I think that's lovely. And because also you're a communications leader, so you understand also about how to communicate. I think it's just like a lesson in leadership and in like how we are in our communities. Because now we live in an age or an era of social media, right? And I'm always saying to people, I'm actually like a very bubbly, like very unserious person. But because they see XYZ over there, and then they have this image of, oh no, she must have it together. And oh no, Musa started a podcast, she's so confident. And yet you're also having like internal battles and challenges. And I hope in some sense, just going back to how sometimes, you know, the part that you have for yourself, like diplomacy, it didn't materialize in a very public way. For me also, I feel like I hope my ministry is that women are empowered because I am also needing empowerment. It's me that is sitting and listening to be like, oh, and then how do you do that? And even as you're having conversations as a host, you see yourself in some of that and you start to break down some of those walls, because I know we started speaking just before the camera started rolling. Yeah. Oh, you know, and you made me feel at ease that, you know, like you just have to just, talk about it and stuff. And there was this one episode, if you will allow me, and it's okay if you don't want to talk about it, where you spoke to your mom. I think I was crying for like 40 minutes. Like just watching that whole episode because, hey,
there was a lot.
There was a lot to unpack. And I want people to go and watch that because I think more daughters, especially firstborn daughters, need to have honest conversations with their mothers. I wanted to ask, what do you think that you have been carrying that maybe in that episode you felt like, okay, I can sort of be at peace with certain things, or what wouldn't you want the next woman to carry?
Not just from the episode, but over the years of my relationship with my mom, I've had a lot of questions. As a child, as a woman, as someone who's looking to get married and have I just had a lot of questions. And for the longest time, my information has come from reading, from watching other podcasts, from listening to other people's stories. And yet, some of the answers I needed were with my mother. And just knowing and understanding her story to help me understand myself. So that episode was really, really helpful for the both of us because I think a lot of things happen in our homes in the private space, right? But they have a public impact.
Yeah.
I don't think my mom had ever had a chance to talk about why she'd never remarried or the experience that she had with my dad. People had their own assumptions. Family had their own assumptions. People who see you being brought up in a one-parent household will have their own assumptions, and people just don't know your story. And so it was a chance for us to actually be like, this is our story. If you've had questions, and this is us, right? So for me, just being able to give my mother a space to tell her story in her own words with the care that that story needed to be carried with. Because I think on anyone else's couch or podcast, it could have taken a different turn. It could have been, there could have been an agenda. So it was just, for me, it was an absolute privilege. And I've spoken to a lot of my friends, and they tell me people have got different relationships with their mothers.
Yeah.
And we have deep conversations, and they'll be like, I really don't understand this, I really don't understand that. And I'm like, talk to your mom.
Go speak to them. Yeah.
They're like, what do you mean? So for me, that episode was also showing my friends, I won't even talk about the internet, showing my friends that you can talk to your parent about hard things in a respectful way.
Yeah.
That was the most important thing, because I didn't want my mom to feel like she was being exposed, or that I was disrespecting her, or that, I was trying to, show. No, I wanted her to be able to talk candidly, but also I needed to respect that she is my mother.
Yeah.
And we walk away from a very public recording, and we're still good.
And we're still good.
And we're still good.
And I love that. And you carried it so well, hey. Because like you said, it's that delicate balance of I have questions, but also just allowing her to be like, this is also your story.
Yes.
And your story plays a part in my story. And like the balance of that was just beautiful. And I love that. And to all the other daughters and or sons, please speak to your parents.
Yes.
It made me also start having conversations with my mom because I shied away from asking because it was considered disrespectful in our culture. And I suppose now that I'm married, and you kind of have to like really look at yourself and say like, what are some of the traumatic experiences that have happened that I'm carrying into this new space? And it goes back to your upbringing, or it goes back down to your parents. And if you're not having open and honest conversations about it, you never get to the root of it. And you start to think maybe it's something about me because you've felt that shame. So I say this because your episode just absolutely did something to me, and I'm so grateful, and thank you for allowing us into that part of your diary, of your chapter. So as we are wrapping up, Musas,
we could talk for hours.
You have been the woman behind the camera. You have been the podcast host. You have been the person creating spaces, but now just turning it to Musa. If this season of your life had a chapter, what would it be?
What would I call this season of my life? Alignment. This season is really alignment. Alignment in the sense that I've always felt like a jack of all trades. When you're talking about having niches and how the world wants you to be in this box, I've always felt like I'm not good enough because I don't have a niche. Even when it comes to my photography, if you go to my page, I shoot everything.
See everything.
People, but I shoot like weddings, events, concerts, like everything. And I've always felt like, is there something wrong with me because I can't just find that one thing and be good at it? You know, I can't just focus on one thing. I've got all this. I've worked for different people. I've worked in different spaces. Like, what am I doing in my life? I feel it felt random. Like you're just living a random life. And because for the longest time, I was in survival mode. And I'm coming out of a chapter of survival.
Into realignment.
That leap from survival into living, but living also not being, it's not like I suddenly have money and I'm living my best life and I'm just taking holiday. I'm not there yet. I'm in the middle bit where I've come out of, literally just stepped out of surviving. Now
dipping your
I'm
toes.
like, I'm existing, but I want to live. How do I move?
Yeah.
But you can only move if you're aligned. And aligned means saying, okay, there are all these random threads, strings, things that I've done. How do I pull them together? And what do they say I am all about? When I'm asked, who are you? How do I answer that question?
Who are you?
That
Musa?
used to bug me so much. People ask, so who are you?
Who are
I am
you?
a creative. Like I am a
That's it.
creative.
You don't have to explain anymore
No.
because everything
I've done is creative. I am a creative. And of different levels.
Yeah.
Right? So this season and this chapter is really alignment and then leaning into it. I just quit I'll call it a job. I just quit a job that I was doing. Because I realized I was not just doing tasks. It wasn't aligning with who I want to be. And there's nothing as painful as losing income when you don't know what's going to supplement that income. But I was like, let me take the risk because I actually need time. I want time to align. I want time to think. I want time to work out what this next phase of my life is going to be. And I need to let go of the survival instincts, the survival tactics, and align. So everything I'm doing right now with the podcast, with the photography, with the many new projects that I'm working on is aligning.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to align myself into, guys, like now, like imagine if I just fully leaned into my creativity.
Just own it.
Whoo! If
Just
I,
own it.
wow. I can't wait to see that version of myself and sit back and listen to this version. Like, girl, you did it.
Yeah. And she will be so proud of you for
Yeah.
taking the time to align. And I like this because it's also part of my method that I talk about. Align, implement, and multiply.
Yes.
But even just beyond that, I am so happy to know that you have taken the time to come into realignment, because sometimes we're always just running.
We're doing
whether
things.
it's survival or however area, we just always like the need to just keep going.
Yeah.
But then when you realign yourself and you also allow yourself to understand the thread between the many things, because I, like you, I feel like we are similar in that regard. There's nothing I can't do, Shem. Like, I actually don't know what I can't do. I'm still to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that always like has been so conflicting in my identity, because I've been like, so who am I?
Yeah.
And I had to go and do that alignment. And I realized like I move things, I transform things.
Yeah.
That's literally it. I'm a builder. So as you are a creator, I realize I like to build. Everything I've been doing is building, whether I'm in my corporate, but you have to give yourself that time to actually figure it out. And I think that's the hard bit. And nobody wants to have the mirror in front of them.
Let me tell you,
actually critique
thinking is
themselves.
hard. I say
And then
this,
thinking about yourself.
thinking is hard. It's hard to actually sit there and think and be very critical of yourself. Not in a you're terrible, but actually be like, right, what am I doing to myself that is limiting me from growing into becoming the person that I want to grow? What habits do I need to let go of? What systems do I need to try?
place.
and put in place, even if they don't work perfectly, but at least try.
At least know them.
Yes, at least know them
and try. Yeah.
Who do I need to talk to help me? Because again, I suffer from trying to figure things by myself.
Yeah, firstborn syndrome. I know what you mean.
I was like, you don't have to. There are
No, you
people who have
don't.
walked your path, which is why I love EB, because every time I'm like, right.
And then
There's this lady who's
even
done
me
that. Let me, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's really like letting, as we're saying, like sometimes we hold on to our identities to our own detriment because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
But if you really want to grow, and I think all of us, it doesn't mean being super, uber, duper ambitious.
Yeah.
All of us crave growth in some sense.
Yeah.
And the scariest part about growth is shedding off what you know and saying, I don't know, and then looking to say, how do I know?
Yeah.
That's the hard bit. You can get to the part of shedding and then like,
and then that's it. And you're like,
you go back,
put it back here, put it back on.
Da,
put
da,
it
da,
back
da.
on.
Or you realize, okay, you don't know, and you're like, actually, no, it's fine. Let me go to what I do know because it's easier. Or you get to the part where you're supposed to learn, and it's hard learning. It's hard going back to school. Guys, sometimes it means going back to school and, you know, looking for that course or that thing that puts you in alignment or gives you that growth that you need. But you have to have that learning mindset and be open, say, I want to grow.
And sometimes it's unlearning.
Yes, that too.
Sometimes it's unlearning.
Yeah.
I think for me, that's the season I've had to unlearn different things. Like we all crave growth, but we stifle it because we are still carrying our people that knew Ruth. And so I don't almost give myself permission to be my fullest self. So I loved everything that you said about that. You have to shred some stuff.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. If you had like 5 steps, say there's somebody who's watching this podcast and they're like, I resonate with everything Musa saying. I also need to realign. In 5 steps, I'd like to know from your take, what were the steps that you took to discover, oh, actually, this is where I'm at?
I think step number 1, buy a journal. Write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down. Write whatever you're thinking, processing, write it down. Because it helps
On
to
the
read
phone?
back. No.
In a book.
Write it. Like, write it down. Phone, if the message pops up or notification, you're going to get distracted.
Yeah,
Put the phone
that's
aside, write it down. Right? Ugly handwriting, write it down. Find your why.
Yeah.
You need to be very clear about why you are doing the things you're doing and why you want to do the things you're doing, because you'll discover the driving force. Sometimes your driving force is just competition with others. Sometimes your driving force is external. It's not in things that you personally want. But you've been told you should do.
You should.
Find your why, because that will give you that drive. And that drive is what carries you through the most difficult seasons. As I was sharing this whole journey about being in the UK, guys, there's a time I was depressed. I was lonely. I had no one to talk to. Family at home, my mom was sick, my brother was stressed about school. I couldn't call them to tell them about my own issues, because they'd be like, Uru UK? Munam UK, I didn't know anyone. So for me to stay in the UK and still push and still find opportunity and still put myself out there, it's because my why was like, you cannot go back.
There's no other option.
You don't have an option. And it was such a big why. But at some point, my why had to change. So find your why in that season. And when that stops being your why, find another why.
Yeah, to anchor you.
You have to have that to anchor you. So that's the first thing. Second thing, do self-audit. Sit down and be like, what have I done? What do I have? What can I do? And you will, if you sit, almost like put them on like cards, right? You will see a common thread. As I was saying, I felt so random. I was like, yo, if anyone were to look at my CV, they'll be like, what exactly are you about? You do 10,000 things. But what exactly? So just self-audit. And nowadays, we've got Claude. Put things in Claude and chat. Like, put it in air.
It act like it knows you for your whole life.
Just be like, I've done this. I'm interested in this. If you were to put this as a, a chart to show the many things I do, do a self-audit and be very honest about it.
Yeah.
And from that self-audit, then step 3 is actually find 2 or 3 things that you would want to explore. Because again, in the pursuit for purpose, sometimes you limit yourself in thinking you've got one purpose and there's one route to it. Find 3 things you're interested in pursuing and just try them.
Yeah.
Try them.
Like that.
Put yourself out there. Guys, I've never said no to an opportunity. Let me tell you.
And in what landed you here?
Guys, photography. They're like, Musa, we need this. I'm like, yes.
Of course.
Even if I don't know, I'll spend the whole night on YouTube learning
how to do that.
How to figure. Even on the day, I'll be like, how do I? Okay.
You'd be like on your phone, hey Siri, how?
I would call my friends, Theo, how do I put the setting? But I'd never say no to opportunity. So just find things that you're interested in, try them out, put yourself out there. Don't say no to opportunities. You never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. You never know where you end up. And when you do get that opportunity, that chance, the very final step, do it to the best of your abilities.
Excellent.
Even if you're not being paid much, even if you know you deserve better, even if you know your worth and you're not being respected, do things because you are doing them. And if your name is attached to that thing, you'll be proud of it.
Yeah. I love
just
that.
Just do the thing so damn well, because
some people are losing opportunities because they're just like, it's a side project. I'll just give it 10%.
Yes. Oh, I'm not getting paid that much. So
yeah. But I hope they will know that you showed up excellently and your whole path is just being laid brick after brick after brick.
And it will reflect in everything else you're doing. So if you do things excellently in one department, you're going to do it everywhere else. If you're a light, you can't be dimmed. But if you don't bother lighting your light, no one's going to light it for you. No one's going to be like, oh, actually, Ruth, you're really great at this. Here
you go. No. You have to claw your way to your destiny.
Yes.
No matter how hard it is, it's all dependent on you.
No one's coming to save you.
No one's coming to save you.
And when that's like a lit reality where there is
for you
no one who is coming to save you, you have no option but to do the work and to do it well.
And I like that, even just as we're talking about this, just even not giving yourself any other options. Like your story was like, this is option number 1 and this is option number 1. A to Z is this option. Do you know what I mean? So actually then it also pulls you to actually materializing that. So as we wrap up our session, we always do a diary entry at the end. So I love that you said the Musa who is fully leaned into her creative identity. Watching Musa today will have something to say. But I want to know, if you were speaking to the Musa that came here and maybe you're at the hospital, you just realized you breaking a leg, what would this Musa tell her into that camera as a diary entry, however you want to do it?
You are much stronger than you know. You are so strong. And when people tell you that, oh, you will figure it out, you will. You actually will figure it out. You might not know how, but you will get there. And you've always done it. And sometimes look back at what you've been through to realize how far you've actually come. You actually do it. It's not impossible. It's just a matter of time and lots of prayer and hard work.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast and helping me actually understand you in a different light. It's important to have this sit-down conversations. And I'm absolutely in doubt. I'm just blown away by the woman that you are, because there's elements in your journey that I never knew. But I see you and you're doing all these amazing things. And you're holding space for others. I am incredibly proud of you, Musa.
Thank you.
And you inspire me because you kicked me on the backside.
When is the podcast coming?
That one is And that's the beauty about community. You do need iron that sharpens iron. And I am so grateful for you. So thank you so much. Anything you would like to say, add before we close?
Thank you for the opportunity to actually share my story, because I've never shared my story anywhere else. So it's this first podcast where I'm a guest. So it's nice to be on the couch. You inspire me. I'm like, hey, what is Ruth doing now? Ruth is just moving. And I'll be like, Ruth is posting at 5 a.m. and she has a child. What are you doing in bed? What systems do you?
I feel like I'm gonna have to break that 5 a.m., 4 a.m. stuff up.
It's just for me. It's just the many things you do, and who you are, showing up as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister. You're always hyping your sister and creating opportunities for her as well. So I'm like, if Ruth can do all of that, get up and go. So it helps, as you're saying, iron sharpens iron. It's helpful to see people around you who are just as ambitious, just as driven, doing more and in their lane, and actually also being able to coexist. I think I remember when your podcast came out, someone's like, but aren't you guys talking to the same audience? I'm like, even if we're talking to the same audience, do you guys realize that the pie is big?
There is enough
pie is
for
huge.
everybody.
And actually, I'm going to be on her podcast, and she's going to be on my podcast.
I'm going to be on your podcast, and we're going to cross-collaborate.
We actually message each other about podcasts. So, you have to, not everything is competition, guys.
Yeah.
Community is also about collaboration, working together, and pushing someone else to win just as much as you're driving yourself to win. Like, it's okay. The pie is big.
It's big. And that's how you see the difference in small minds, because I've met people that even if we're all doing women events, 1 week after the other, we'll be rotating, because you're going to speak to someone else entirely different, because what you are thinking and your philosophy is going to be different to my philosophy. And at the end of the day, that's our ministry. That's your stewardship into this world. So thank you so much for pouring in those words. I'm also learning to accept compliments. I think I better stop before I start going backwards. So thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. And if you have enjoyed this podcast, I'm going to leave all the details for how you can connect with Musa, how you can follow and listen to her podcast. And please like and subscribe if you haven't, and catch you in the next episode.